got Patrick Trin, but first we have our next lottery. So for those of you who are new here and haven't heard yet, please go up to Clarissa in the corner if you want to be entering the lottery for the next time around. But the next set following Patrick is going to be Julian the Cyborg. So Julian, come on up, we'll get you set up for the next one. So excited to have our next set going, but quickly, for anyone who just got here, we have a lot going on tonight at Open Decks for Gaza. We have tabling outside in the bar areas by Queer Abolitionist Collective and also by DJs Against Apartheid. We have vendors outside. Please go check them out. Go have a good time. Please don't be afraid to come dance up on the table. We're not shy. You shouldn't be shy either. We're so happy to have you here. Thanks for being at Open Decks for Gaza. This is Patrick Trin.
For those cast as others, the meanings of self-defense, inclusion, and solidarity shift depending on what occurs both inside the nation and outside. For Asian Americans, the outside is Asia. The fear is being associated with a particular part of Asia when that part clashes with the United States. World War II turned Japanese Americans into Jats. While today, the possibility of war with China could provoke a surge of anti-Chinese American feeling that could quickly morph into anti-Asian American feeling. This fear underlies Bill Vaughn's uneasiness over Heard's use of Jats. Perhaps Bill could be indiscriminately painted without aiming to a brush, as Heard might feel the same, marked by Jewishness, Israel, and the threat of violence and death. This peril also provides the most unifying experience for Asian Americans. A shared history exacerbated by our concern that most of the world does not know this record of anti-Asian violence, lynchings, massacres, and brutal exposure. When many felt they were too helpless in too close proximity. Confinement, the ghettos, which people sometimes burn down. Laws forbid us from going home, obtaining citizenship, or testifying in court, even if we were the eyewitnesses to the murder of our friends. One of the decrees prevented us from immigrating to this country, leaving the Chinese and Americans living in our midst. Silence and no dogs were contained. This exploitation of bodies from the Chinese workers building a railroad, the Japanese and Filipinos farming the fields, Asian food, and resources. The perpetual perception of Asian Americans as foreigners, the acceptability of anti-Asian jokes and stereotypes, and the key memory of Asians and their enemies and television, all began to undermine the actual key of Asian Americans. Most of all, America's worst nation, which hated aliens, Asians, and the Philippine American War of 1898 could extremely reconcile West Asia, and Afghanistan, Central Asia. The deaths of Asians and Asian Americans in the past, and potentially in the future, are monitored in most of the lives of Asian Americans, bringing us together in defiance. Writing literature was one of the most important ways we sought to shake off the Oriental guilt. Defend ourselves and fight for inclusion. We as American minority, we also defend our rightful place as Americans. Asian American This complex of countries and people created the routes for masses of fearful and hopeful Asians to migrate to the United States for a select few to Harvard. Here as elsewhere, we foreground our success stories, which are inextricable from our sob stories. We are valedictorians, salutatorians, celebrities, influencers, actors, chefs, politicians. We are who we want as partners. Although that we does not include me. For when I took chemistry as an undergraduate in a half-hearted attempt to do pre-med, my lab partner also did me this, recognized my incompetence, and refused to let me touch my lab experience. Friendly competition. We're doctors, radiologists, internists, optometrists, dentists, pharmacists, nurses. We take your blood pressure, give you injections, empty your bedpans. We look into each and every part of you. We tutor you in math and play your classical music. We kneel at your feet to do your pedicures. We dry clean your clothes. We introduce you to acupuncture and yoga and martial arts. These endeavors that we probably no longer teach you from martial arts, since you have to teach them yourselves. We give you an incredible array of spices, flavors, and dishes, without which your lives, diets, and palates would be much longer. We design your microchips and program your code. We become the objects of your fantasies and desires. We smile and reassure you. We serve as your excuses to end your action. And after all the activity, we still have to decide on the way it's Perhaps that is because we have accumulated enough numbers and mass, although we constantly threaten to do so. The novelist Julia Tsuka described the danger that other Americans saw from the Japanese immigrants of the early 20th century. Economic machine. If progress was not checked, the entire western United States would soon become the next Asiatic How then does God record this? In the Japanese-American case, through the internment camp. The camp demonstrated the law's arbitrary nature and how the state could take away rights and lives at any time. This recognition that the violence aimed against Asians could possibly end in death is a dominant theme in Asian American literature. Our experiences with death provide the basis for singular sorrows, but also more capacious grief, if we think about how we relate to others subjected to similar violence. It would be possible without the land taken from indigenous and colonized peoples. Our contradiction is exacerbated by the following problem. If the Oriental is a monstrosity, is reviving and renaming the Asian American any less monstrous? Even if it is our monster of our making, it seems stitching together the odd parts of our bodies. Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, and Filipinos would never have called themselves Asians until they came to the United States. When these different parts China is Asian in the American sense. But the geography opens the question. What if they, Israelis or Palestinians, identified as Asian and eventually Asian American? If the question might seem absurd to some, that is because claiming affiliation via Asia or the Orient itself, so vast and heterogeneous, might already seem absurd. What alleviates the absurdity is the tragedy of racism and colonialism that might drive someone from the southwest corner of Asia, or their descendant, to ally with people from East, Southeast, and Southeast Asia, or their descendants, and vice versa. This is any more absurd or less tragic than the Jews and the Chinese in Los Angeles. As different, sometimes conflicting impulses in the other's monstrous body. For Asian Americans, these conflicting impulses mean that we recognize Pacific Islanders and Native Hawaiians as part of our necessary coalition, even if they are not Asian American. But the existence and survival of Kanaka Maoli, Chamorro, and Samoans should trouble Asian Americans and Americans as a whole. With the reminder that the United States has a separate colonial country as part of a violent ascent in conflicts in these مين طالب بأمسية مين حقق مين أو حبس صعب إشباع ما يبكي لسه بالدعاء إنك تابع للغريزة بتمسك مش مغطيسة تقبض حقك متلازمة مشهد ما تحويه النفس من تحقق متلازم الحوارات السواد استبداد غاية مبنى الشام جاوب تقوات لتحريات الفكرة كلها إبعاد أشوف عشان خمسة بالوقت الشغال إجبارك على الخروج مسؤول حياة تغيير البغي المسؤول تسريح للضوء so that one Palestinian fisherman Darwish is telling attempts to return by stealing a boat and rowing from Beirut to Haifa. A week later, the sea brought his body back to the coast of Tyre, back to the rock where he used to gaze at the Gulf. In another story, Darwish asks a fellow Palestinian where he hails from. Haifa, the man says. I wasn't born there. I was born here, in the refugee camp. To be from somewhere but not born there describes an exilic feeling that descends generationally, leading to an existence, Darwish says, in the middle region between life and death. Caught in this zone, Darwish concludes his memoir by saying, I don't see the Gulf. Haifa is beyond reach or sight. As is everything else that Gulf lets in life. If anything might help us rescue, if anything might help rescue us from the sadness and despair found in Darwish's memoir, it could be expansive solidarity. I end with two writers who embrace expansive solidarity as they deal with Israel and Palestine. In Eve Warner's Northern Lectures, How a Writing Being, she describes being an other in her own country, apartheid-era South Africa, a feeling of alienation, inseparable from the isolation of becoming a writer. Having rejected apartheid and her own implication in it, Gordon criticized her white-ruled society, a stance complicated by being the daughter of European Jewish immigrants. Consider, Gordon asks, how immigrants such as her parents could come to South Africa and suffer hardship while opening a store in view of a community of black miners. A generation later, the immigrants and their children have become upwardly mobile and moved on. But the black miners remain where they are. The problem, Gordon understood, was one of racism and settler colonization, both of which she and her parents profited from. Their Jewishness was important, Gordon thinks, than the whiteness. Gordon invokes famous laws of Israel as another layer critical of its own society and its Palestine. She focuses on his novel theme. His title here, she describes as carrying both the embittered history, millennia of persecution of the Jewish people, and the embittered history of their occupation by conquest of land belonging to another people, the Palestinian Arabs. Both Gordon and Oz, writing about 30 years ago, are depressingly still relevant now. Oz depicts FEMA, an outlier among his fellow Israelis, saying, "We're the Cossacks now, and the Arabs are the victims of the pogroms." FEMA continues, "Can a ruthless man like me have sunk so low as to make a distinction between the intolerable killing of children and the not so intolerable killing of children?" In one charge symbolic moment, FEMA comes across a cockroach in his kitchen and raises his shoe to smash it. But looking closely at the cockroach, it was filled with awe at the precise whatever it did. A publisher in 1995 on a quiet night tried to get it and the struggle against apartheid and won. And she could finally claim her country as her own. For her, engaging could only be achieved by ending apartheid and settling colonialism rather than aiming it. Otherwise, inclusion entailed an erosion of one's soul and heart. Gordon's expansive radical solidarity is actually a defense of the self. Needed to be a writer of her kind. I return to my own otherness. Being Asian American is not the only dimension of myself, just one aspect. Born from defending myself and others like me, or soon to be like me. But my Asian Americanness matters less than my ethics, politics, and art. Together, they constitute a stubborn otherness that resists the lure of a domesticated otherness, satiated by belonging. I see as being an Asian American if and when Asian Americans cannot emerge from self-defense, inclusion, and a limited solidarity bound by race and nation in order to embrace an expansive global solidarity. For Asian Americans, defending ourselves and seeking inclusion is crucial. But what happens when we recognize that our democracy is also a settler country and an imperial country? A country that aids in the colonization and occupation of other lands. What is the worth of defending our lives if we do not seek to protect the lives of others? As for who we should feel solidarity with, the answer is simple, yet difficult. Whoever is the cockroach. Whoever is the monster.
Once that made me never.